Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome back with me, Miss Ira, in the presentation of Language Assessment Principle and Classroom Practices. Alright, today we are going to discuss about Chapter 4, entitled Standardization Testing. Okay, Standardization Testing. These are the table of contents of our chapter today. The first chapter is what is standardization. Second is advantages and disadvantages of standardized test. And then the third is characteristic of standardized test. And then developing a standardized test. All right. And the fifth is standardized language proficiency test. And the sixth, standardized test of English language proficiency. All right, the first one. What is standardized or standardization? All right, a standardized test presupposes certain standard objectives or criteria that are held constant across one form of the test to another. A good standardized test is the product of a thorough process of empirical research and development, and it measures children's mastery of the standards or competencies that have been prescribed for specific grade levels. And the Scholastic Aptitude Test, or SAT, is designed for college entrance exam of many high school seniors seeking further education. All right, and then CAT is designed for college entrance exam of many high school for seniors seeking further education, and then the graduate recur exam, or GRE, for entry into many graduate school programs like Graduate Management Admission Test, or GMAT, and the Law School Aptitude Test, or LSAT, specialized in particular disciplines. And then Test of English as a Foreign Language, or TOEFL. I guess that all of you have ever did TOEFL, yeah? Okay. TOEFL produced by Educational Testing. Okay, then. So TOEFL is part of standardized test, kind of test that include top standardized test. Okay, and then Graduate Management Admission Test, or GMAT, and then Test of English as a Foreign Language, TOEFL, and then Educational Testing Services, or AES, in the United States, and the International English Language Testing, or IELTS. Next, and then the tests are standardized because they specify a set of competencies for a given domain, and through a process of construct validation, they set of tasks that have been designed to measure those competencies, and then they provide objectives, means for determining correct and incorrect responses. And then MIC is not the only test item type in standardized tests. And then human score tests of oral and written production are also involved. Okay, and then the second is advantages and disadvantages of standardized tests. Advantages of standardized tests. The first is it's a ready-made, previously validated product that frees the teacher from having to spend hours grading a test, and that administration to large groups can be accomplished within reasonable team limits. And then in the case of multiple choice formats, scoring procedures are streamlined for either scannable computerized scoring or hand scoring with a hole punch grid for fast turnaround time. And then these are disadvantages of standardized tests. The first is inappropriate use of such tests. For example, using an overall proficiency test as an achievement test simply because of the convenience of the standardization, and then potential misunderstanding of the difference between direct and indirect testing. All right. And the third is characteristic of standardized test. All right, this is the standardized criteria, yeah? Designed to apply to a broad band of competencies, not exclusive to a particular curriculum, and then standardized test norm reference product of a complete process of empirical research and development dictated standard administration and scoring procedures. And next, developing a standardized test. Okay, knowing how to develop a standardized test can be helpful to revise an existing test and adapt or expand an existing test to create a smaller scale standardized test. Okay, A, the test of English as a foreign language, or as we know, TOEFL, general ability or proficiency, and then the English as a second language placement test, or ESL PT, San Francisco State University, and then we call it placement test at a university. And then C is the graduate essay test, or TET, SFSU, or San Francisco State University gatekeeping essay test. Okay, and then determine the purpose and objective of the test. TOEFL, to evaluate the English proficiency of people whose nil is not English. Okay, the first, their first language is not English, and then they learn English as a foreign language, okay. And then college and universities in the US use the TOEFL score to admit the reviews international applicants for admission. And then SLPT to place already admitted STS at San Francisco State University in an appropriate course in academic writing and oral production. Okay, and TAT to determine whether their writing ability, yeah. Okay, next. Design test specification. All right. TOEFL. For TOEFL, yeah, this is the step of laying the foundation stone on the test. For example, TOEFL specification. There are listening section, structure, reading section, and writing section. Okay. Its specification are not just stated that way. It should include what task it measures, what task it covers, and what material it uses, and listening section focuses on a particular feature of language or overall listening comprehension. Reading section aims to test comprehension of long or short passages and a single sentence, part, phrase, or words. And then design and select and arrange task or item. One specification for standardized tests have been stipulated. The task of designing, selecting, and arranging task or item begins. And then the specification acts much like a blueprint in determining the number and types of items to be created. And then make appropriate evaluation of different kind of items. Okay, item facility, or we call it IF. Okay, the score is in percent, yeah, of people who give the right answer. Item discrimination or ITs indicates the even two-way success on an item corresponding to success on the whole test. And then item difficulty or ID, finding out the percent of people who get the item right in the tryout group. And then performing them may not be practical, especially if the classroom-based test is on-time test. But for a standardization or standardized multiple choice test that has designed to be marked commercially, all right. There's different form of evaluation for other types of response format, for example, production responses, and then practically clarity of the direction, timing of the test, and then ease of administration, time required to score responses, and then reliability is the degree to which an assessment tool produces stable and consistent results, and then facility, unclear direction, maybe complex language, obscure topics, fuzzy data, and then culturally biased information. And the fifth is specify scoring procedures or formats, a systematic assembly of test items in pre-selected arrangements and sequences, all of which are validated to conform to an expected level of difficulty, and then should yield a test that can then be scored accurately and then report back to the test takers and institution efficiently. The sixth is perform ongoing construct validation studies. No standardized instrument is expected to be used repeatedly without a rigorous program of ongoing construct validation. Any standardized test once developed must be accompanied by systematic corroboration of its effectiveness and by steps towards its improvement. Okay. Standardized language proficiency test. Standardized oral production test, or TSE, or test spoken of English, and then OPI, or oral proficiency inventory, and then TWE, test of written English, and then commercially purchased standardized test of English language proficiency. The first is TOEFL. Yeah, and then the second is MALAB, or Michigan English Language Assessment Battery, and then the third is IELTS, and then the fourth is TOEIC. All right, that's all, yeah, guys, for our fourth chapter. I hope that if you want to further information, you may read this book, yeah, Language Assessment Principle and Classroom Practices by H. Douglas Browns. Okay, that's all for today. I hope that you can understand all the material, and then see you on the next video. Bye-bye, everyone. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.